Hi! This video was supposed to be another helmet garden video, and it's a little different. Most of my videos I say that, but this one I got a little off track, and we'll talk about it. So I just went out there, tried to find something that was somewhat Vietnam era. This one caught my eye, and mostly because it's got somewhat decent paint, and so I didn't have to do too much to it. Came with a hitchhiker. This little guy would not come off, but this is a late rear seam, very post-war. You can see the lighter green under it that you see on a lot of Vietnam era helmets. And then I bought this one on eBay. This is a reproduction, but I bought it because the price of the helmet was lower than buying the original cover and chin strap separately. So it was a decent deal, and now I've got an extra helmet I don't know what to do with, but because I bought it for parts, let's take it apart. The chin strap I noticed has a damaged area, and we'll talk about that. But I pulled it apart, and the liner had this fun camel pattern I did not expect. So that's exciting. And the cover was really crusty, and the chin straps were really crusty. And so I don't know if it was a great deal. These T1 clips came off by hand, which is never a good sign. They're supposed to be pretty stiff. They were designed to be replaceable, but not by hand. This one required tools to get off, but as soon as I bent this tab, it made this sound. And that's not great. So after a little fiddling, I got it off, and so we can put this reproduction together and set it aside for some other project. And this is the helmet we pulled out of the weeds, and you can see it's had T1 clips. You get that weird bend in them from the metal pulling on the metal. I thought I could maybe reuse these, and it's not going to work. I pushed this one back, and the tink that we heard before was the metal failing, and then it failed. So we're just going to replace those. These are new old stock T1 clips. They're good to have if you're working on this stuff. You can still find them occasionally. They're getting harder to find, but I just pulled those off and replaced the webbing. I thought about replacing the webbing with new-made canvas, but I kind of like this worn look. I think I'm going to do something with the kind of weathered, distressed look. So I'm just going to replace the strap with the existing original one. And you can see these take a lot more force to put back together. I could barely clamp it by hand, and then, of course, we're going to need tools to get these tabs closed. Real pliers probably would have been helpful, but this is what I had on my bench, and I didn't want to go find more tools. And sometimes in life we struggle because we're lazy or stubborn, and this was one of those times, but whatever. That's what you get. So I got these on and got them tight, and then I did this to both sides. And I'd mentioned this earlier. This is that damaged part of the strap, and I could have replaced it, but like I said, I'm kind of going for a distressed look, and it seems like the repair is somewhat holding up, so we're going to leave it. And that'll be good enough. So now we need a cover. I did a video a while ago about different helmet covers, and I used this reproduction Mitchell cover as a control piece. This is my only original Vietnam era helmet with graffiti on it, and it's, I'm sure, a play on Hogan's Heroes, but I don't like to do things with people's names. I don't like to add history. So I just looked at pictures. This one's cool because it's got rung sat on it, which was a big nasty part of Vietnam. And this is where bad decisions started. Number one, I didn't lay it out. I just kind of went out of what was in my brain, and it did not end well. And the other big problem is I did it off of the helmet, and you'll see why that is a really bad idea. I also found this picture of Roadrunner, and I thought it was cool, so I was going to add that too. But I learned my lesson partially. I drew it out with a pencil first and then Sharpied it. Again, the problem is I did this off of the helmet, and there are a lot of reasons to do it on the helmet. One is you can't judge size or positioning very well when it's not on a helmet. The other thing is they don't look the same because of the curve of the helmet. So we got it on the helmet, and this is the band that came on that reproduction. It's just a utility band, but it looks like the early Vietnam bands. So I'm just going to use that to hold it. And then I did a video where I washed a helmet, and that was the liner out of that one. And even though it was late, I wanted to water it down so that the cover could dry and adhere to the helmet. But I went out the next morning, and my sprinklers had gone off, so it's still wet. So I had to wait more hours. Then I took a little walk and borrowed a couple rocks from the city and picked some good ones with some curves. Now, looking at wear patterns of an original cover, you can see there's, besides the tears, there's wear on the rim and wire on top where they'd be, I'm sure, set down. So we're going to add some wear. This rock is more like a pumice stone. It's really coarse. I think it's volcanic. And so I was going to use that for the main distressing. It's taking material out. You can see it's really removing fibers and simulating wear. And then I moved on to the smooth one, and the smooth one doesn't really do anything. So we're going to get it wet again. Sometimes when things are wet, they distress better. And then I let it dry, and the smooth rock did, I think, more work. It looks a lot more aged. I had this band. This is the cat eye bands from China, and they glow really well, but the cat eye reflectors weren't used during the Vietnam War, so I cut those off. So now that we have a band, let's put stuff in the band. So I just went out to my collection of brass and just sorted out a few 5.56 casings. 3 or 4 should work, and I could have cleaned them, but I'm going to leave them dirty. This is an original Vietnam-era Colt M16 magazine, and this is I think it's a 5-round 450 Bushmaster magazine that somebody gave me, and I can't use it for anything else, so we're going to put it in this. I don't usually like the look of magazines and helmets because it's not very practical. Loaded magazines are heavy. Just not practical to have next to your head. There's that mag catch slot that's been opened up, so I can't use it for anything else. So here's our handful of brass, and I pulled a couple bullets, and I'll show you why. The 2 bullets I'm just going to stick in the casings. I could have crimped it, but because I'm lazy, we're going to put the rest of the shells in the magazine. And I looked at the old one to see where the follower would have pushed it. They don't fit in nicely because it's, of course, made for a different caliber, so the followers are different. But if I can get 3 or 4 in, we can make it look somewhat loaded. So back to our 2 with bullets. I'm just going to super glue them. It's easy. It's fast. I don't have to worry about setting up reloading presses or dies or anything. So after getting these super glued, I'm just going to put them on top. And because you can only see the top 2 or 3 rounds, especially from a distance, it'll look like a loaded magazine. And I'm good with that. Moving on, this is a printout from Hardscrabble Farms. I've used their stuff in the past. Really good resource for living history stuff. And these are the cigarette packs that came in the sea rations. And it's just a little 4 cigarette, very small container that you just cut out. I had this printed at Staples on cardstock. You just cut it along the dotted lines and then fold where it tells you to fold and glue where it tells you to glue. And it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. In hindsight, I would have done a few things differently, but that's okay. After getting things mostly glued together, there's a couple things I use super glue for, like the caps there, and just a few minor tweaks. And then I cut these dowels to just go inside to fill out the shape, because when a band is squishing it to a helmet, it's going to want to crush, and this will help hold some of the shape, but not all the shape. So that's how our helmet is at this point. This side we're not going to talk about because I don't like it, but the rest of it's okay. And this is rust. I've got another video I've been putting together about cultivating rust for this purpose. And because a lot of tops and rims got rust from the moisture in Vietnam and post-war, we're going to add a little bit of rust. And this, if nothing else, will take the white off of the frayed edges on the rim and on the top and kind of mute it a little bit. I've got another video out about how to make these insect repellent bottles for $1, and this one I'm going to age as well with this rusty water. This is one method to age and stain paper. It's not the only one, but we're going to do the cigarette pack as well, just because the bright whites don't quite look right when you're trying to age something or make something look a little bit older. Another method, of course, is using tea. This is just regular old black tea, and it does a really good job of staining white things, both cloth and paper. And I'm just going to brush it on in a few random spots, and it'll kind of give a distressed, aged look. And you can't see it very well on camera, but in person it was very dramatic when I was going over the white. You could see a huge contrast between the two. That one you can see a little bit better on the top. So just kind of random patterns, random ways to darken the white. I'm not going to do the back because you're not going to see the back, but the sides and front, of course, will need to be a little bit darker. There are probably better ways to age both the cover and the junk I'm putting in it, and I don't know what they are because this is my first attempt at making something look like what it's not age-wise. If you have better recommendations, give me a holler. So we're going to ignore that side because I don't like it, but this side looks pretty good. I like how it turned out. So we can start putting it together. This is that band. I scribbled that on there because, you see pictures of it. But in moving the black band up and that one down, I don't like it. It doesn't look right. It doesn't fit. So we're not going to use it. We're going to keep the black utility band, and that's just going to be good enough. So I'm going to put the bug juice on this side. I could add a liquid to it, but I don't want to worry about it, especially where I'll probably be selling this to pay for more videos, so it'll be shipped. I put a magazine on that side to cover up my ugly, and already it's looking a lot better. It's looking more Vietnam-y. There's our cigarettes that kind of fit in there. I might glue the flap down just so you don't see the wood in there. But putting these together is pretty cool because there is no right or wrong. It's just personal preference. Whatever junk you want to shove in there works. And I'm going to call that pretty much done for now. So that is the final product. I think it turned out pretty good for what I had to work with. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are, and we'll see you next time. Just a side note, these are the types of situations I get myself in just to take video. Thanks for watching.